I welcome you all to the 10th day and 18th session of the induction program. As most of you all know, we are dedicating each session of this program to one individual who inspired us in many ways. Because of their achievements, they have a huge impact on the way we are living today. As a part of this series of occasions, we dedicate this particular session to the great Dr. Vikram Sarabhai. Vikram Ambalal Sarabhai was an Indian physicist and an astronomer who initiated the space research and helped to develop nuclear power in India. Sarabhai was born in Ahmedabad in Bombay Presidency of British India on 12th of August 1919. Son of Ambalal Sarabhai, he came from the famous Sarabhai family of India who were major industrialists committed to the Indian independence movement. Sarabhai first attended Gujarat College, Ahmedabad, but later shifted to the University of Cambridge in England, where he received his tripos in natural sciences in the year of 1940. Sarabhai started a project for the fabrication and launch of an Indian satellite. As a result, the first Indian satellite, Aryabhatta, was put in orbit in the year 1975 from a Russian cosmodrome. He was the founder of Indian Space Research Organization, which is well known as ISRO. He was instrumental in establishing the various organizations, like establishment of Physical Research Laboratory in the year 1947 in Ahmedabad. Vikram Sarabhai Space Center, Thiruvananthapuram, served in the establishment of Center for Environmental Planning and Technology University in Ahmedabad. Founder of the experimental satellite Earth communication station at Ahmedabad in 1967. Founder of the Indian Institute of Management, IIM in Ahmedabad. Faster Breeder Test Reactor, FBTR in Kalpakkam in Tamil Nadu. He was honored with Padma Bhushan in the year 1966 and the Padma Vibhushan after his death in 1972. Thereafter, he regarded as the father of the Indian space program. NIT Andhra Pradesh proudly dedicates this particular session to Dr. Vikram Sarabhai. Now it is my pleasure to introduce today's guest speaker, Ms. Asha Sampath. Yes. Ms. Asha Sampath is an accomplished professional, has over 25 years of rich experience in senior management and board roles in diverse sectors across Indian and international cultures. She was nominated for an International Management Development Program in the United Kingdom for potential general managers identified by a European MNC, where she had a fulfilling growth trajectory as she moved from finance roles to general management and then on to board roles. She was also part of the Asia management team and a core team player in 3 startups, 2 in India and 1 in Indonesia. In her role as managing director, she had the responsibility for operations and P&L for the Indian SBU that had 2 manufacturing plants in India. She evolved into a unique position of talent in executive leadership combined with finance and expertise and branding marketing experience. She is the founder of a marquee brand consulting firm called Brand Horizon. She offers her diverse and core expertise to SME to scale by using branding as a tool for corporate growth and to startups as a strategic consultant in business plans and go-to-market strategy. With this brief introduction about the speaker, now I hand over the session to Mrs. Asha Sampath. Ma'am, the platform is yours. Please continue delivering your lecture, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for a very warm welcome and introduction. It's indeed a great pleasure to be here and sharing some of my experiences with budding NITians. Am I audible and visible? Hello, am I audible and visible? Hello? Am I audible?
Ma'am, yes. Sorry for the delay. Yes,
Yes.
you are visible and audible too. Please continue,
Thank you
ma'am.
very much. Thank you very much. At the outset, I would like to congratulate all the students present here on the milestone achievement of getting into a premier institute. I know it's not been easy to go through a competitive exam. I'm sure it has taken a lot of hard work, perseverance to crack it. And you now have access to premium resources from NIT in terms of academics, in terms of culture, in terms of sports, in terms of books. And at the end of 4 years from now, I'm sure you'll emerge as a very competitive candidate for lucrative and challenging jobs. So, congratulations to all of you. That's the bright side. But there's also another side that you'll all be exposed to very shortly as you set out on the journey of IIT, NIT, and onward to your careers. What's also important for you at this point is to be aware and stay prepared of what challenges you will face in life going forward, what kind of turbulences you may encounter. Because if you're prepared for it, then it's very easy for you to face them and come out successfully and realize all your dreams. And so today, I have decided to share some insights from my own experiences with you, both on the personal development and on the professional development, which could help you with some pointers as you navigate your own challenges. That said, there's something called a law of equifinality. You know what that means is for every destination, there will be multiple paths. So it's not necessary that everyone should be following the same path that I took because the circumstances are different, the situations will be different. So I'm sure you will discover your own best path for your goals. But sometimes it makes sense to understand some of the mistakes that the others have done, some of the experiences that they have gone through. So we don't waste time relearning the same mistakes at our own cost. You could always learn it from others and then probably give yourselves space for new mistakes and find solutions for them. So today I will be taking through a session that will comprise of 3 parts. The format will be like this, but before I go to the format, let me tell you why the topic challenges, limit your challenge, don't limit your challenges, challenge your limits. That's the topic that I have picked for today. And the reason for picking this topic is, to me, challenges are the X factor between survival and living life to the fullest. And that's the reason I chose this topic. And I also believe in the 3D principles or the rule of three because experts say that human memory can at best recall 3 points at any point of time. So I always try and stick to 3 points in all my presentations. So today, the 3 topics that I have picked are personal development, professional development, and personal branding. So let us call it the 3 Ps. I'd also like to tell you that I am not going to present any PPT formats today. The reason being, I think PPTs are less effective than auditory senses and they disappear very quickly. So I think it's better for you. I will be speaking very slowly. So I think it's better for you to listen out. And if you find there's something very valuable for you, you could always write them down. because when you write things down, it's more impactful and effective for you to retain them. So with that intent, I have decided not to present any PPTs. So there will be three formats, as I said, in the form of 3Ps. And at the end of this session, I will also be sharing again in three parts, three things that have impacted me a lot, and three things that I think everyone should avoid. And again, I'll also be presenting three books that I think is worth a read for all of you. So that will be broadly the format of today's presentation. And so at the end of each session, which is personal development, professional development, and personal branding, I would like to give a break of about 5 minutes or 7 minutes to enable all of you to ask me questions that you think are relevant to that particular segment. Because the more interactive we make this session, the more beneficial I think it will be for you. So with that intent, let me start my first topic, which is the personal development. All of you are aware, right, that today we are in an age of technology and internet and automation. What does this mean? As you all set out on your careers at the end of these 4 years, I'm sure you'll all come out very successfully as competent candidates for lucrative and challenging jobs. But what you will also find is technology being where it is today, a lot of the human jobs will be taken care of by technology. And it does not mean that people are going to lose jobs because of automation. But what is going to happen is it's going to challenge humans a lot more than in the past, to be more competitive, to be more skilled, and to be a step ahead of everyone, because competition is going to be increasing, automation is going to be increasing. So life is going to throw a lot of challenges on us. So what this means is the human skills are going to play a very crucial role in all our professional careers. It's already started to play a crucial role, and it will only increase by the years. Sorry. So when we talk of human skills, there are many skills. I'm sure all of you may be aware of many of them, but just to point a few of them, some of the human skills that you need to have are the social skills, the emotional skills, the conflict resolution skills, the cognitive skills, stress management skills. So these are the various human skills that are going to play a very crucial role when you are going to face an interview or when you are going to be in the job at the trenches. Now, I don't need to tell you where you can find these resources, because these resources are available on so many platforms. You can find a mentor to help you. You can find them online in the form of courses. You can also read and find out what these skills are. Of course, the most effective way of developing these skills is to be on the ground, either through community service or some NGO activities where you actually experience learning these skills hands-on. So that's probably the most effective way. You could be working for an NGO on a project, or you could be helping people that are underprivileged, or you could be taking part in community activities for flood and drought. So there are a lot of opportunities where you can actually acquire these skills hands-on. And when we talk of social skills, it's things like your interpersonal skills, how you perform in a team, how you communicate with people. And when you talk of emotional skills, empathy is a much talked about skill today. You need to put yourself in the shoes of the other person at every step, because only then you can relate to the person, you can experience the situation, and you can win the attention and the goodwill of the other person. So empathy is becoming a very crucial factor today. Apart from that, you also need to build skills like determination, grit, resilience, and you need to be able to manage stress. So there are a lot of these human skills that are going to differentiate one from the other in your life, in your corporate lives going forward. So what's important is not how you will acquire it, because there are, as I mentioned, there are a lot of avenues for you to acquire them. But what is important is for you to be aware that these are very important for you going forward, one. And two, the efforts that you make to foster these skills are going to define what kind of a human being you are going to evolve as going forward. So, how do you build these skills? That brings me to the next point. First of all, I think you need to ask yourselves what kind of a person I would like to be. And when I say what kind of a person I would like to be, I'm not at all referring to your professional life. At this point of time, I'm only talking about you as a person, you as a human being. How would you like to shape your lives? That's a question that I think all of you should ask yourselves early in your lives, because today you're in a stage where you have completed a lot of the heavy stuff in the form of board exams, and you have also gone through the competitive exams to get this far. And as I said, that's a huge milestone. And now it's quite natural for you to feel that you have come out of a cage and now you're kind of getting into an environment of freedom. Yes, no doubt. But that freedom comes with a price, right? It has to be regulated, it has to be in your own interest, and it should be never at the cost of somebody else's interest. So we are all going through this stage this is the age when all of us have gone through this stage of transition. So this age is probably the best time for you to start working on shaping your lives. And when I say shaping your lives, I think the first step is you all ask yourselves, as I mentioned earlier, what kind of a person I would like to be. It could be many things. It could be like I would like to work for an NGO. I'm just giving examples. It's not necessary that you have to do that. I would like to be very, very selfless and make an impact to the society. I would like to work for an organization and earn a lot of friends and build a huge network. Or it could be I do a lot for myself, but I also do something for the others. So I have a very balanced life. So I have a very good family. I also have a very good career, and I'm going to balance things out very well for myself. So some of these things is something that you can start to think about even as early as now, because now is the time that you actually will start to condition your mind in the right direction, and whatever you do now will have a huge impact 4 years from now, 5 years from now. Because what you want to be 5 years from now, you cannot start thinking 5 years down the line. You have to start thinking about it now. So, which is why I insist that you should all ask yourself this question: how would I like to shape my life? Having asked this question, you also have to have action plans, micro plans on what you'd like to do to make that happen. When you ask yourself how I would like to shape my life, you have an answer, but you go back to that question and ask yourself, why am I doing it? What am I doing it? Why am I doing it? How am I going to do it? And what purpose is it going to serve? Right? So I think defining those questions or finding answers for those questions will give you a definitive roadmap into what you would like to be doing in the future. It also helps you in multiple ways, because today, it's never too early. So whatever roadmap you form in your mind today will help you, A, to have clarity, B, to attract the right kind of resources for you to make that happen. And three, it will also give you a direction on what kind of things you would like to be doing and what are the things that you would not like to be doing, because you have a purpose. And without a purpose, there is no direction. And when you have this purpose clearly defined, you know that you will be consciously avoiding anything and everything that will not contribute to this purpose. So your focus area becomes very clear. So at this point of time, I think it's important for you to go back to my first question. What kind of life I would like to have, why I would like to have, what am I going to do about it, and how am I going to do about it. So these are the 3 or 4 questions that are worth asking yourself at a very early age in your life, and I feel that this is just about the right time. There's also a saying that many experts say that success chases those who define their lives the right way. So at this point of time, I think these are the questions that you would want to ask yourself on the personal development. Having done that, the next point that you all have to remember is disciplining it. I think discipline is a very, very important topic for you at this particular age, because you have defined your goals, you know where you want to go, you know how it has to be done, you know what is to be done, but execution is the next big challenge. And for you to be able to execute that efficiently and effectively, uh, you have to stay very disciplined, because I think it's no brainer that without discipline you cannot achieve anything in life. So when we talk of discipline, let's talk of your sleep habits, your diet habits, your exercise habits, your meditation habits. We'll talk about meditation, why you need meditation. It's not something that you need to pick up as you grow older. Exercise and meditation is never too early. And I will tell you why. Because unless you stay fit mentally and physically, nothing that you decided you want to do in stage one at the stage of goal setting can be achieved, right? So first of all, avoid. I'm not saying don't have any fast food, but I think it has to be in moderation. You need to develop good sleep habits, because if you see any successful people, I'm sure you would have read quite a few of them already. Many of them are early to bed and early to rise. So it's the 5 a.m. club that's the winner. You may even have read about the book, The 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma. So that's a very great habit that you can inculcate very early in your life, and that will help you to make the most of your time, because time is a very important resource. Once you lose it, you never get it back. Time and tide wait for none, that they say. So the best way to manage your time well is to use the early morning hours when you have a lot of energy, and the mind is fresh for you to achieve more than what you normally achieve when you get exhausted later in the day. So I think early morning habits are great. On the diet front, you have to be very cautious about what you follow today, because you may not feel it in the early years, but later on, as you start getting exposed to the fatigues and the challenges of life, what happens is um your health starts to deteriorate. That's because of the impact of the wrong food or the wrong diet habits that you have followed. But then changing it is a huge challenge. So you'd rather start working on it right now. I would never say that never have fast food or junk food, because it's natural, it's human, but have it in moderation. As far as possible, try and build up a good diet habit, because that will stand you in very good stead going forward, and you can spread out your energies for a longer number of years as you grow in your career and life. The other thing is exercise. Many people tend to think that exercise is only for the older people because they are getting old, and I think that's a myth. Exercise is important even very early in our lives because it saves you from a lot of the ill effects of not having exercised adequately in the early years. Because today we find that people at 30 and 32, maybe sometimes even earlier, have a lot of physical ailments, and that's mostly because they have not made a conscious effort to manage their health well. So I think you can take some cues from there and start working on it right now. And it doesn't take you a huge lot of effort actually to be able to do that. There are a lot of apps actually on internet that you can follow: a 7-minute workout, a jumping jack, or a stretching exercise, or twisting exercise. You can do a lot of things just for maybe 10 minutes a day in the mornings, and that's more than enough. And you make that a habit for about a couple of months, then you start to feel the impact or the good effects of that, and you won't want to leave it at all. So it becomes a part of your habit. It becomes a way of life, and then it's just like breathing. You like if you don't do it on a particular day, then you start to feel something is missing, and then you realize how more effective you can be through the day just because of the 10 minutes you have spent on exercising. So please do keep this in mind, which is a very important part of your disciplinary agenda. And I also talk of meditation here. Meditation is not religious, meditation is not spiritual at all. It can be spiritual, it can be religious, but not necessarily. When I talk of meditation, all I'm trying to explain to you is time for yourself for about 10 or 15 minutes in the morning. I think we all need that me time, and it's not a compromise. It's not an option. Why? The 10 minutes that you spend in the mornings by yourself, don't allow any distractions whatsoever, not even your family. Just sit all by yourself. You can have a nice environment if you can afford that. Otherwise, you can have a greenery if you can afford that. If you cannot have anything, just close your eyes and sit back for about 10 minutes. Just contemplate. It can be anything. You can think of something pleasant. You can think of you can just experience what's going on, the blood circulation system, the breathing exercise. You can do anything that will just not allow any external negativity to enter you during that 10 to 15 minutes. So if you can bring about that discipline every day, I'm so sorry, 1 minute. Let me put this off. This 10-15 minutes of meditation that you will be doing, I'll tell you how it helps. One, it helps you to reduce your anxiety, the cortisol levels that they say, the anxiety, the restlessness, the hurry burry that we go through every time. So all of these you can avoid by spending the 10 minutes or 15 minutes all by yourself, because you just bring your mind under control. Of course, there are a lot of experts who can tell you how to do it. I'm not an expert, but all I'm telling you is this is something that will help you plan your day better and be more effective and productive in your work. The other thing is, we all, as the day progresses, there'll be so many things that start to occupy our minds. There will be people from there will be people in the environment putting so many things into our schedules. So you will not know where to go. We'll be running after so many things. We will be chasing so many things. There will be so many people wanting us to do multiple things. So the restlessness and the anxiety that will start then, what happens is we will not be able to focus. So somewhere along the way, we get lost, not knowing where to go. Life goes helter-skelter during the day. But if you spend this 10 to 15 minutes meditating, what will happen is you use that time all for yourself. It's your me time. And then you plan out you go back to the first step that I told you. You had fixed a goal, and you had also fixed what are the things that you will need to do to get there. So these 15 minutes you use to revisit those steps. So you build a level of focus in what you want to do. So you define what are the things that you want to do that particular day. You actually list out an agenda. Of course, there will be one or two things that you may have to do outside of the agenda for some reason, but as far as possible, I think what you should do is to avoid deviating from what you plan during these 15 minutes. So you bring about a level of organization into your day's activities, and that way you reduce the stress level as the day goes. You also reduce the level of clutter in your mind. So you develop a habit of focusing on what you want to do. Because today I find that most of us are not able, especially because of the social media, most of us are not able to do a lot of what we set out to do in the morning. We plan many things, but somewhere along the line, everything goes helter skelter. We lose the focus. And then at the end of the day, we realize, oh, I had to do this, I had to do that. This hasn't happened. And then the next morning, you wake up with a level of stress. So I think what you should do is try and consciously avoid this. Challenge yourself that you are going to do it. I'm going to use the word challenge quite often because, as I said, that's the X factor between survival and living life to the fullest. So you bring about, you learn to manage distractions better by this 15 minutes of meditation every day. So it helps you to stay focused on your purpose. It also helps you to stay fit mentally and physically. So this is step number 2. Step number 3. Let me tell you. Give me a minute.
Please take your time.
Yeah. No. I just want to make sure that I'm not missing anything important. So I'm looking at some of the points that I wrote down. I haven't done a PowerPoint presentation. Yeah. 3. It's also important for all of you to learn or get into the habit of reading and writing every day. Even if it is for 15 minutes, it's not necessary that every one of us has to be an author. And I'm not saying that if you like to be an author, fine. But writing skills are an important skill today at every step in our life, be it professional, be it personal. We are all used to writing to our friends of course, we don't handwrite, but we write on emails. So writing skills are key to manage your relations with others and manage and maintain robust relationships. So writing skills are very important. So even if it is writing your own diary or writing a short post on Facebook, I'm sure if all of you are on Facebook by now, I assume, I don't know. Spend 15 to 30 minutes every day on reading something, anything of your choice. It's not necessary that it has to be a fiction, it has to be a management book, it has to be a technical book, anything but your textbooks. Anything other than that, something that will kind of lighten your mind. It also empowers you. When you read, your self-confidence level goes up. And then you start to become a better person. And you realize that when you start reading, you start to look at life in a very positive perspective. So I strongly recommend that you all start to read and spend 15 minutes or even 10 minutes every day writing something of your choice. So reading and writing skills are very important. At this point of time, I would like to take a break and why don't you share some questions that you have on this particular topic of personal development, and maybe after that I will go to the next level, which is the professional development. Happy to take some questions to make this more interactive.
Dear students, you may post your questions in the chat box, or you can also unmute yourself and pose the question to the speaker, if that is okay with you, ma'am.
Yeah, sure. I'm not able to see the full.
Ma'am, a question from Satvik Narala. Ma'am,
Yeah.
I don't like writing that much. What should I do?
You're not the only one. There are many people who don't like to write. But I think this is where your preparation for your life comes into play. So it's good that you are aware that you don't like to write. And I'm not the only one. There'll be many more people who will probably tell you why it is important to write. So today you're aware that you don't have a skill or an intent to learn something that's important for you. So being aware of that gap is 50% job done. Now you have to do the other 50%, which is try and see how you can do that. Because without writing skills, tell me something. What would you like to be? Do you have any thoughts on what kind of profession you would like to choose going forward, so I can answer your question better?
Mr. Satvik, you can unmute.
देख यहाँ पर मैं काफिर लगी मस्ती से
Dear students, if you are not asking the question or responding to the speaker, please kindly mute yourself.
Exactly. Please mute.
Okay, ma'am, we can move on to the next question. Ma'am, can you tell about some books which would empower us?
Definitely,
From Sudha.
I will share some of the books at the end of the session.
Sure. And the next question is, what makes us to learn more, by listening or by writing?
I think definitely by listening, because the more we speak, the less we listen. So listening is a huge skill that you have to inculcate, because listening helps in multiple ways. It helps you to learn from others. It helps you to give them a feeling that they are important. So you're developing your social skills, your interpersonal skills, and then the kind of support that you will get from, because many people listen, many people hear, they don't listen, because they're actually seeing a person while they're talking, but the mind is elsewhere. So they're not actually listening with an intent to respond in the right way. They're listening just to complete a job. So listening is a very important skill. Good question asked. So listening is very important, but that doesn't mean that writing is any less important. So I think they are both very important skills to inculcate.
Thank you for the nice answer, ma'am. The next question is, ma'am, how to write simply and shortly that I want to convey? Are there any tricks like?
There are no tricks. It comes with practice. It comes with reading. The more you read, the better you get at writing. So to answer the first question, who asked about, I'm not able to write, what do I do? I think the best way is to start reading. So the moment you start reading, you get hooked. You start to become more expressive. I think that's the trick. The more you start to become a person, a human being when you read, and then you want to express yourself. And one very effective form of expression is writing. So writing will come naturally once you start becoming an avid reader.
Okay, ma'am. The next question from Utkarsh. Ma'am, in your opinion, what would be the most important thing that a man should learn from at the earliest age?
I think, as I mentioned, from a personal development point of view, I think he should learn to be a good human being. That's a very broad statement, but to be a good human being, I think there are a lot of little things that you need to do, which is the various skills that I talked to you about. First of all, I think you have to learn to respect people. You have to learn to trust people. You have to learn to enjoy little things in life. There's so many things that you need to do. It's not. I don't think there's one answer to it. You have to be a holistic person to be able to be a good human being. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of training sessions that will happen also in your courses. Otherwise, there are enough number of courses online for you to learn. But I would say in one line, if I have to say, be very receptive and open-minded.
Yeah.
It's learning is like a parachute. The more you open, the more effective it is.
Nice, ma'am. I agree with you. And the next question is from Hari Fanindranath. Ma'am, there is a statement that is once written is equal to 10 times read. How do you support this?
100% I support because what happens is this is exactly why I did not make a PPT today, so that I have already answered this question. Because once you read, especially on a PowerPoint presentation, it just disappears in a few seconds. So the number of times recall is established is far less than when you write. Because when you're writing, what happens is you're applying your mind. So you're thinking about it and you're also putting it in writing. So two of your senses are being used. So the reinforcement is happening twice. So I'm not sure about 10 times. You can ask an expert, but certainly I can say that writing is very impactful. Which is why
Definitely,
I said, if there are any points that you feel that I'm talking about is important, write them down and you'll never forget it.
Excellent, ma'am. Ma'am, I would suggest we move on to the next part of your presentation or your talk, with your permission.
Of course, sure. So we talked about the personal development. Just to summarize, what did we do in personal development? We defined the goal. We decided that this is what we want. We decided why we want. We decided how we are going to do it. We also decided what we need to do to be able to do it. And then we went through what it takes to execute it in terms of discipline, in terms of training ourselves, in terms of developing some skills. So all of these we talked about are very relevant for the personal development. At the same time, let's also talk of the professional development. When it comes to professional development also, your goal setting is equally very important. Because unless you have a goal, you don't know where we are going, right? So I think today you are all in the first year of your engineering. So you have 4 years from now to step onto a career, working career. But during these 4 years, you need to wire your brain to attract the things that you would want to be doing 4 years from now. As I mentioned earlier, whatever you want to do 4 or 5 years from now, you need to sow the seed today, because you cannot sow the seed 5 years from now and say tomorrow I want to become this. It won't work that way. There is a preparatory time for it, just like growing a sapling. So today you have to define your goal and when I say define your goal, it doesn't mean that you cannot change later on, but it will give you a direction where you want to go. But many times there are instances when halfway through we realize, no, we made a wrong decision, we want to change. That's perfectly all right. There's nothing wrong about it. But let's not wait for 4 years from now to decide what we want to do. Let's start thinking about our future today. If you start thinking about your future today, you have various options. At the end of 4 years, as I said, you will emerge as successful NITians. You're coming from a very prestigious institution, so there will be people wanting to recruit you on the campus. There will be other opportunities coming by. So you could take up a job in a software industry, you could take up a job in a manufacturing industry, you could choose entrepreneurship, you could choose academics, you could choose working for a startup, or maybe armed forces, anything, or civil services, you never know. So all of you may have your own ideas or dreams about what you want to be 4 years from now. So I would urge you to start thinking about it today. Why? Again, because the moment you start thinking about it, you are opening up your mind, you're discovering your inner calling. And once you discover your inner calling, you will start to orient all your actions towards that goal. So you tend to become more productive. Not only that, the moment you start thinking about your goal, you start radiating the things that are aligned to that goal. And when you radiate things that are aligned to that goal, as they say, there's something called the law of serendipity, where universe conspires when you badly want something. So when you start radiating what you need to achieve that goal, universe will also start to help you in all the directions to get there. So you're actually inviting external forces to help you to achieve your goal. And for that reason, I think it's important for you to set a goal today and then have clarity on that goal and start working towards that goal. Once you have that goal, the other thing is your purpose is defined. You will consciously avoid doing things, as I mentioned earlier, you'll consciously avoid doing things that are not in alignment with your goal. So you won't just go helter-skelter, I'll do this, I'll do that, I want to do this as well, I want to do that as well. So at the end, you'll end up not doing anything in the direction of your goal. So once you have your goal set in, you will be more focused in all your actions. So whatever you do will align with your goal. You become more effective, you become more efficient, and at the end you become more productive. So goal setting is very important also in the professional level. Once you set the goal, the next big thing for you is they say visualize your dream. So we all have a dream. I'll give you an example for this. Maybe you'll understand that better. I'll give you my own example. When you visualize what you want to be, there's more clarity in your thinking. You don't just visualize what you want to be, because once you visualize what you want to be, after a few days, you start visualizing, how am I going to get there? And when you ask yourself the question, how am I going to get there? You are then going to ask yourself the questions, what do I need to do to get there? So you are actually very unconsciously laying a roadmap for your dream. And you're also going to define milestones for your dream. So visualization of your dream is a very, very powerful tool for you to realize your dream. And please remember that. And you'll hear this from many successful people. I have learned it probably by reading, and probably because it also came to me very intuitively. And I will give you an example. When I was in your age in college, I wanted to get into IIM. I applied for the CAT exams. I did not get through. And then the next best choice for me was doing a chartered accountancy course, which I did. It took me a long haul and a lot of effort to do that. I also did several other exams alongside. But when I wanted to take an IIM CAT exam, the dream that I had in mind was that I have to be running an organization all by myself and heading an organization. That was the dream I had. That did not happen through IIM. And I spoke to you earlier about the law of equifinality. For the same destination, there are multiple routes. I tried the IIM CAT exam. It did not work. Then I took the chartered accountancy exam. Yes, for a few days I was disappointed that I did not get what I wanted. But I did not allow that to deter my dream, pursuing my dreams. My mind started, I was so passionate about what I wanted that that it started coming back to me again after a few months. Yes, this did not happen, but I still want to get there. How am I going to make it happen? Okay, I have gotten into the chartered accountancy course. So I can complete my chartered accountancy course and still become head of an organization someday, right? I mean, I started telling this to myself. So anyway, that was just there at the corner of my mind because I knew that it takes a long haul of effort to actually make that happen. But the important thing is the seed was planted in my mind. And after I did my chartered accountancy course, I got into a job very logically as an accounts executive. And when I got into a job as an accounts executive, what happened was I was only handling accounts jobs. And I was in a company, I was in an Indian company that did not have too many opportunities for me to cross function because it was a huge organization. We were working in watertight compartments. So then the urge in me to get to where I want told me that if I stay in this organization, I will not be able to make one step forward. So I have to get into a smaller organization where I will be able to interact with people from various other functions. So I will not get lost in accounting job all the time, and I will be able to learn other functional areas that are important for me to become a general manager someday, right? So I got into a smaller organization, and when I got into a smaller organization, the journey did not stop there. Actually, that was the beginning because I got into an organization and that was the starting point for me to find ways and means of making myself competent for that role whenever it happens 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, whatever. At that point of time, I realized that the only way I can make it happen is that I interact cross-functionally with all the other functional areas like a sales or a purchase or a production or a research and development. So by doing all that, I will get more knowledge. So maybe I did not become a general manager straight from an IIM campus, but there is another route I can still get there. Maybe it will take longer, fine. But I was so determined to achieve that goal. So I started doing everything and anything that was necessary, of course, in the right way, to make sure that I make myself eligible for that whenever there is an opportunity. It could be in the same organization, it could be in another organization. So what happened? The moment I started showing interest to develop those skills, my organization started supporting me. My colleagues and peers started supporting me. I started reaching out to them for help on knowledge. And I used to give them knowledge about accounting and finance. So it was a reciprocal arrangement. I just built a very robust relationship with all my peers. So nobody felt it was like a competition. We were all growing together. We were all learning from each other. And at the end, the most important thing is I was achieving my objective, but in a very harmonious way. And the organization looking at my passion, at my interest and my dedication, they decided to send me to UK for general management, potential general management job. Now that was like most gratifying moment for me because they were going to take the initiative to prepare me for that role. So what more could I ask for? So all the disappointments and the distress behind not able to pass the CAT just got washed away in few years. So the reason I gave you this example was for you to understand that it's just an example and I was not trying to rave about myself, sorry. But a practical example always helps to understand better. There's a reason I gave my example. So when I started living my dream, universe started conspiring to make sure that I got everything I wanted to be able to get there. So, and I think that will happen to all of you if you have a dream and if you are really, really passionate and determined to achieve that. So have your goal set right. And once you have the goal set right, be very, what shall I say, robust in your efforts to make sure that you invite the positive vibes for you to make that happen. So once you start living your dream, that will happen. So that's step number 2. Again, of the rule of 3, step number 3, you have to believe in yourself. If you do not believe in yourself, nobody else will. If I had not believed that I could get into a management position, starting off as a finance person, I couldn't expect anyone else to believe me that I can do it. First of all, I had to believe in myself. I had to demonstrate it. I had to make efforts to let people know that I'm very committed to it. And only then the positive vibes started flowing in for me from external forces. So likewise, you all have to believe in whatever dream you set for yourself. And once you believe in it, others will also start believing in you. The most important thing is when you start to pursue a dream, be prepared for this. Do not expect everyone around you to support you. It will not happen. That's just a fantasy. There will be many people along the way who will tell you, no, it's not possible. They could be your well-wishers also sometimes. So I'm not necessarily saying critics. It could be critics, it could be your well-wishers, and they could be saying it's not possible for you for many good reasons. But you know best what you want, right? You have worked on it. You know that there's a passion. You know there's a hunger for you to make that dream come true. So why let anyone else define that for you? Don't do that. So once you're very clear on what you want, pursue that no matter what somebody else says. But I'm not saying don't listen to them. Listen to them. I will tell you again another example for myself. When I set out on the track to a general manager, there were people in the same organization that supported me. There were naysayers who told me, no, a finance person can never aspire to be a general manager. And I would never get deterred by that criticism. I would embrace it, right? I would tell them, please tell me why I cannot. It was a very innocent and positive reaction. I would ask them, tell me why I cannot. And then they would list out A, B, C, D, E. I would listen very patiently. Somebody asked, is it important to listen? That is where listening matters. Listen to your critics as well, not just to your well-wishers, because you learn more from critics than your well-wishers actually. So I would always embrace critics. And if I found a critic, I would jump at listening to them. I would understand what they'll say, why they will say it's not possible. It would just get registered in my mind. I won't get upset. I would go back home, sit back in my 15 minutes of meditation, think for myself. They're saying it's not possible, but why is it not possible? Why can I not make it happen? So it used to be like questioning myself. And then I would find answers for it, and I would go that extra mile to make sure that whatever they said, I would overcome. It could have been a genuine problem that they have expressed. So never discount it, because sometimes our critics come with the best of comments that will make us stronger and better. So always be very welcoming of critics. That's one thing that I would advise you very strongly. If somebody wants to write it down, please write it down. So that 15 minutes of meditation time, I would use to question myself why I cannot do it, find answers how I can do it, and start working on it. Everything would not have an answer immediately. It would take time, but I would definitely overcome it. And that's probably how many things that I have been able to do are because of that positive approach to criticisms that I have had. So believe in yourself. Don't let naysayers tell you why you cannot do something. And when you set out to do it, be also very, very clear and expect turbulences along your way. Don't ever think that life is hunky-dory. Don't ever think that people are just going to make things so easy for you that you can just walk through it. Right? It's not going to happen. If it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, you should all be prepared for that, and face that with grit, face that with resilience, and make sure that you don't get deterred by it and stop halfway through. Continue chasing them, overcome. It could make your journey a bit slower. So what? At the end, you still get there, right? And that's what you want. So that's the way to look at it. So don't step back because you have faced one hurdle. Make sure that you overcome that, take the next step. And most important, while you are doing all this, what you should do is have small milestones for yourself. When you have small milestones, what happens is each milestone is a success milestone in itself. And every time you achieve a small step forward, you feel delighted, you feel gratified, you feel happy, you feel encouraged, you feel motivated to take on the next step. So celebrating small successes is another secret to get to the big goal that you want to achieve. So these are some of the pointers that I can give you for professional development. And this is, again, I would like to stop here to ask for you to ask some questions before I move on to the third category.
Dear students, you may post your questions in the chat box. So, ma'am, there is a question from Shreyansi Srivastava. Being a girl, what are the challenges and tribulations which you have to overcome to reach a position which you have today?
Very good question. You may be surprised with my answer, Shreyanshi. Because this is the way I look at it. And again, please do not take it as gospel truth, because everybody will have a different perspective to it. I'm only sharing my perspective. To me, the only way to overcome that is not be conscious of the fact that you're a girl. Because it's like you believing in yourself, and unless you believe in yourself, others don't believe in you. So if you think I'm a girl, I may not be able to do it, others will think, oh, she's a girl, she'll not be able to do it. So take that away from your mind. Just start behaving normally. Do not expect any special treatment from anyone which is gender based. So you have to believe that it's immaterial whether I'm a girl or a boy, because I have my skills, I have my capabilities, and I'm stopless. Nobody can stop me. I will tell you again an example. When I was doing my chartered accountancy course, we had to do 3 years of internship, and we had to go to various companies to do audits. And when we went to those companies to do audits, most of the time, we had to sit late till about 11:30, 12, sometimes till 1 o'clock, because we had to close the audit in time for the accounts. And because we were handling multiple clients at the same time, every client had a deadline for the meeting, and we had to close the accounts. And so the work pressure was tremendous. My boss, who was the partner of the firm called Fraser and Ross, he was a very traditional person. And what he used to do was, at 5:30 sharp, he would tell, okay, all ladies, all of you can go. Because I don't want to hold back ladies here, the rest of the people can continue. And that was something that used to make me so uncomfortable, I tell you. I used to think, no, I don't want to be treated like this. I don't want to be treated like I'm not capable because I'm a lady. No. And I used to tell him, no, I want to continue, and I want to go back at 12 o'clock when everybody else in the team leaves. I want to be a part of the team. And then he would say, no, you're fine, but then your parents are going to be upset with me. I said, don't worry, I will manage them. And I would insist that I stay on till 12 o'clock and wind up only when everybody else left, because the fear of missing out was working on my mind all the time. So, I mean, it looks kiddish if I look back now, but that's the way I wired my brain not to allow gender to come in the way of my progress. So I think important thing for I don't know how many ladies are there in the batch. What's the percentage?
I'm not sure, ma'am. I think about 70-30.
Oh, okay, great. 70, 30 girls.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay, that's still a good number.
But I have to double check with that. I believe it is
That's okay.
close to that one. Yes.
Okay, okay, that's okay. So, my advice to all the girls in this team, do not ever allow that to enter your mind. Just forget that. Just keep going. Just keep doing what anybody else would do, what you would do if you are a boy. And there's nothing stopping you from realizing your dreams.
Yeah, ma'am. It's not a question. There is a continuation of a comment from the same girl, Shreyansi Srivastava. She mentioned that in the field of technology and innovation, boys have dominated in this field. Maybe there are some exceptions, but
Yes.
it can be well seen in the gender ratio here in engineering colleges.
That's
Yeah,
true.
I think you have already answered that, ma'am. Like it doesn't matter. The gender doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but she's also right in a way. Historically, I think that's happened, and that is because of the traditional mindset of the parents, plus also to some extent the mindset of the students themselves. So
Yes,
I
ma'am.
think it's important. I think there's a role from uh, not just the ecosystem, but also the girls themselves to become more conscious of breaking the glass ceilings. I think once we make up our mind, others cannot stop it. Of course, they will be, some of them may not be as privileged as I was in terms of support from the family. So there could be some hurdles that some of the girls may face. But I think you may have to go that extra mile to make it happen, because once you enter the field, I don't see any shortcoming that anybody would face just because of gender.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you very much for the nice answer. And then the next question is from Tarun Venkatasai. He has asked this question repeatedly. Ma'am, how to control goals like when we see the launching of a rocket, we think we must become a rocket scientist.
Yes. Why not? Of course you can. Have you started visualizing that you want to? I mean, I gave you a trick today. Start visualizing that you want to become a rocket scientist. Then
Yes.
you will come out with answers what you need to do to get there. I mean, there's so many achievers today. They've all been like you when they were young, right? What has made them what they are today? It's the little things that they have done differently. It's the grit not to give up. And again, a lot of the book says it's the way they manage their day every day. So they are actually very simple things that's the X factor between successful and non-successful people. So if you want to be a rocket scientist, space scientist, what would tell me what would stop you? Maybe I can answer your question better. What do you think would stop you?
Venkat Sai, you can unmute yourself and answer.
Ma'am, may I audible, ma'am?
Please go ahead.
Means like that. If I see anything, I want to be like that. How to control the situation?
Oh, that's a different question altogether. So that means I think here the problem is not how to become, the problem is of clarity, right? You cannot become everything. Unfortunately, we only have 24 hours in a day, right? So, and every area of success needs lot of hard work, needs lot of dedication, a lot of time. So I think at some point you have to take a call on what you would like to be. You cannot become everything. You can be probably three complementary things. Um, you could be doing, I mean, as you progress in your career, you could probably be doing 3 things that are complementary to each other, but not more than that. So you can't say that I want to be a rocket scientist. I also want to be let's say, a pilot. I also want to be a computer engineer. Everything, maybe not, I don't know. But I think you have to identify what is close to your heart. You have to discover your inner calling. I think that's something that nobody else can do for you. So it's an exercise that you have to go through and come to a conclusion that this is what is going to uh, make you feel worth your efforts. I think that is the bottom line. Would you be happy doing it? Should I be spending my next 10 years trying to get there? Once I get there, will I be happy? Again, ask the questions. Why? Is that a passion? Because another point that I probably missed telling you in the beginning is, unless you know why, the passion will not sustain. You have to find answers for that. So why that hunger in you to make that happen? Whether it's there in the first place or it's just a fantasy dream. Because just a fantasy dream will not take you anywhere. It has to be a passionate dream, and only then your efforts will get, or the resources will get channelized. So to answer your questions, I think go back and do your homework to get some clarity on what you would like to be. If you are very unclear, maybe you can also take the help of a mentor or a counselor. At the end of this session, I will probably share some credentials. You could even contact me if you like, so I could direct you to the right people. I'm happy to do that.
Nice, ma'am. So the next question is from Hamachand Gupilla. Ma'am, what makes us to get the result according to our efforts? Some people will fail even of putting more efforts.
I think more efforts is a very vague terminology. I think the right kind of efforts is what matters. Just more efforts will not take you where you want to go. I think the right kind of efforts is what matters. And I would not say that all the 10 people who put the efforts will get where they want to. It could also be a situation where 3 people get where they want to get, but the other 7 people may get to another place which is equally good, right? Again, it's the law of equifinality. So, to answer your question, I don't think you should. That's actually, I would say, a little bit of negativity in the approach which you have to overcome. Because if you start looking at it that way, you'll fall short of your efforts. So effort should be 100%, but you need to keep asking yourself or get the guidance of your people around whether the efforts are going in the right direction. And once the efforts are going in the right direction, very rare that you will actually fail. I can assure you that.
Okay, ma'am. Do you have time for more questions, ma'am?
Yeah, sure. Another 5 minutes, we
Sure.
can have
Sure,
questions
ma'am.
and then move to the next topic.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, how to improve body language from Aditya Mehta?
How to improve body language? Very good question, actually. I was planning to cover this in my personal development, but I just realized maybe on another day. Your body language speaks volumes of your personality. I'll come to that in the personal branding segment, but let me answer this question for you. I had a colleague in my organization earlier. He was super knowledgeable technically, but his body language was so negative that he lost out on multiple opportunities that came along his way. Your body language speaks about your intent. It speaks about your positivity. It speaks about your commitment. It speaks about your dedication. It speaks about your seriousness. Very simple. It means it speaks about your commitment to get to where you want to. But if your body language is all negative, you are again radiating negativity and you will invite negativity only. So body language you have to work on to show you are the best in you. You have to come across as the best for people to believe you are the best. Does
Yes,
that
ma'am.
answer the question?
I would think so.
Yep.
The next question is from Uday Bhaskar. Ma'am, when one gets success, it would boost, but not is the case with setback. Ma'am, how to move towards goals during setbacks, which drags one back?
Very nice question.
Probably he means to how to handle things in difficult times.
Yeah. No, this is a very good question because the true character or the strength of a person, the true test for a person's character is not when everything is going fine. It's only when things are going not fine, I would say. So you have to inculcate I think that's what they call an emotional quotient. So it's your emotional skill to be able to handle negative situations. Again, it doesn't come overnight. It's a very practical question you have asked. It doesn't come overnight, but you have to be conscious. I'm glad that you have asked this question because you know that it's an important skill. You just now have to learn how to inculcate that. And again, there'll be a lot of courses that you can attend to be able to do that. But I would say, in very simple words, when you fail, it's not a failure. You have learned something. That's the way to look at it. Because everything that you do, don't expect success. If I do 5 things, I may win in 3 things. The other 2, I may not win. But the way I look at it is, okay, I didn't win that, but so what? I've learned something out of it. Because with every failure, you have gone through an experience. So stop looking at setbacks as a failure. Start looking, it may be simple, it may be easier said than done, but you have to develop that strength in you. Every setback is a stepping stone to success. The setback should give you the strength to work even better to make sure that the next time around you're not going to be in that situation. But I'll also give you one good news. If I were going to be interviewing somebody for a senior position in an organization, I would prefer someone who has gone through setbacks rather than someone who has had a streak of successes only. You know why? The one who has not gone through setbacks would never know how to handle it if it were to happen. So I'm safer with someone who has gone through setbacks rather than someone who has not gone through setbacks. So having setbacks is actually a strength.
Okay, ma'am. The next question is from Shrikar. Do you think hard work is everything, or does luck play an important role in our professional development?
I had read one proverb, I don't know who said it. Luck is when hard work meets opportunities. Right? So there's nothing called luck. I think it's a combination of your hard work synchronizing with opportunities. So you have to do your hard work, wait for the opportunities. When you are at the right time, at the right place, success will chase you.
I agree with you, ma'am. I think luck only stays with those people who work hard.
Exactly.
Then
luck is a very vague word. I think luck is again the positive vibes that you invite.
Yes, ma'am. That's true. Uh, Ma'am, there is a question from Anisha. Ma'am, I always write my every emotion on a paper, but each time I write, I understand that few things are not in my control to change, and I feel bad about it.
I'm glad you feel bad about it. Why? Because you have to be mindful of all your emotions. No, emotions are multifarious. There are so many positive emotions. An emotional quotient expert will tell you there are thousands of emotions, not just one or two, and thousands of, both positive and negative. So being conscious and mindful of your emotions is very important actually for a good emotional quotient. Today, people talk about emotional quotient and less about intelligent quotient, right? So, intelligent quotient is less important today. Emotional quotient is more important. So, if you have an emotion and you are mindful of that emotion, it's okay. Let it be. You experience that emotion. Be mindful of it, understand and realize, yes, this has hurt me. I have gone through this. Take your time to overcome it and then move on. I think the most important thing for you to realize is important thing is for you to identify what is controllable, what is not controllable. What is not controllable, there's no point brooding over it. You're only wasting time. So one moment lost in trying to control an uncontrollable is 5 minutes lost in trying in not controlling a controllable. Right? So very important for you to stop, find the dividing line and go through the emotions. I think expressing your emotions is the biggest strength in life. If you're not able to do that, I think you're not strong enough. You're shying away from it. It's human nature. So experience the emotion, go through it. Time will heal whatever emotion you go through, then move on. So there's nothing wrong about it. Feel sad about it. It's not a problem.
Yeah, I too appreciate Anisha ma'am for her strength to express things out. That's good.
Yeah.
And let us give one final one more chance to girls. How to handle situations when things were against us? This is a question from Tejashree.
It's a vague question. Things will be against us. Of course, as I told you in the beginning, don't expect things to be, all the things to be in favor of you. Set out on your journey expecting or anticipating things to be against you. And then you're more prepared. So when you're faced with it, uh, you're not surprised. So you don't run away from it. Right? So that's the way to wire your brain. Anticipate things to go wrong. You're prepared for it. If it doesn't go wrong, you're great, very happy. If it does, it doesn't deter you, right? Because you already anticipated it and you are prepared for it. So what's the problem? Just face it, navigate, move on, right? And there are things you learn as you go. It's probably when I say it, it sounds easy, but I have gone through it all. And that's why I say that when you go through it, you will find it easy to overcome it as well. Only thing is you have to be conscious of it. If you don't anticipate, then it will be a surprise. Then it will consume you instead of you overcoming it.
Nice, ma'am.
So should
Yes,
we
ma'am.
move to this topic?
Yeah, please, ma'am. Please.
Right. The final topic of the three P's I'm going to talk about is personal branding. Now, this personal branding is a topic probably a bit too early for all of you at this stage. But nevertheless, there's nothing wrong in you trying to understand the very basics of personal branding because you probably would want to do it already in a couple of years' time, either for your internship or for your projects or for your community work. So I would deal with it in a very basic way, not go very deep into it, so you can understand the basics. And once this starts to become more relevant for you, you can try to understand more. And again, you know what I'm talking about better than. But nevertheless, I will highlight few very simple things about personal branding. Now, when we talk of personal branding, I'm not talking about raving about yourself on social media. Let me make that clear. That is not personal branding, in my opinion. Personal branding is you shaping your own professional and personal image in your own eyes, not in others' eyes. So, to this extent, what you need to do is, when I say you have to start to think in terms of personal branding, let me give you one example. If you go to a sportswear shop, you may have an unbranded sports shoes, you may have a Nike, you may have a Puma, right? If you have the resources, you would rather buy a Nike or a Puma compared to an unbranded, right? Why? Because Nike or a Puma is a known brand. And when I say it's a known brand, it comes with a level of reliability, a level of quality, a level of consistency. You have more trust in that brand, so it's more dependable. So closing your eyes, you can buy it. So that's the purchasing power that the brand demands or attracts. So likewise, even in our personal life and professional lives, we have to build a level of reliable and consistent image about ourselves to make sure that when actually people start to see us and we are visible to people, we are a more preferred resource compared to somebody else because of our consistency, because of our reliability, because of our integrity, because of our authenticity, right? So, how do you do that? We talked about focusing on the goal. I keep going back. We talked about focusing on the goal. When you are focused on the goal and you have started doing a lot of things that align with the goal, you step by step, you are building your own brand value for people who will be using you as a resource going forward. I hope I'm making it easy enough. So, when you talk of personal brand, what I'm trying to say is try to stay focused on the purpose and on the goal in whatever action you're doing. Because, as I mentioned, we all have only 24 hours. So, we don't have too much time to fool around with multiple things. So, we need to identify what is important for us. Once we identify what is important, we also have to make sure that we do everything else with a purpose towards that goal. So, staying focused on the goal at every step will keep making you as a resource a better brand for people to identify and pick whenever you make yourself available for, let's say, corporates or for internships or for projects, right? So, that is the reason behind personal branding as a topic for you to start to think about. When you are building a personal brand, what is very important is you stay authentic at every step. When I say authentic, stay true to yourself. Forget about others. Ask yourself if this is good for me. If your conscience tells you it's good for you, 9 out of 10 times it's right. So there's no better test than that. Of course, there are well-wishers around who will also testify that for you. But authenticity in whatever you do is very important. And once you have defined in your goal, consistency is also equally important. For example, one of the students, I can't remember the name, I'm sorry, just asked that I want to do so many things. How do I cope? There's nothing wrong, because at this age, it's the right age to think of wanting to do multiple things. And I'm very happy that, I'm sorry, I forgot the name, has this idea of wanting to be everywhere or wanting to be doing multiple things. That means you're opening up your mind. So that's actually a very good sign. The only thing is, you have to go a step forward and decide out of those so many things that you want to do, which is more important for you. And then stay consistent for all the other actions to surround that particular goal. Then what else? On social media, you probably do not want to talk much about social media right now, but you all will soon need to have a CV that will reflect all of these in a very authentic way. What your goals are, what are the projects that you have done, are those projects aligning with the goals, are you a person that can be relied upon, are you a person that can be dependable, consistent, do you have all those skills that I talked about in the beginning? If so, what is there to demonstrate that you have those skills? So you can start to build all of these into your CV, so that when a person has, let's say, hundreds of CVs in front of him to pick 5, yours gets prioritized. So that's the idea behind personal branding. So at this point of time, you may not have too many things to showcase, but whatever little you have to showcase, try to make it, try to package it in a very nice way, so that people looking at your CV will start to think, oh yeah, this is a very promising resource, because he or she already has her goals very clear in her mind, and she's doing everything that's necessary to get there, and she has also built all the social skills, emotional skills that were necessary to meet the challenges in her workplace. So if I take her or recruit her, I don't have to worry about many things. I just have to make sure that she gets inducted into the organization very quickly, and then she's good to go. So that's the kind of confidence you will be giving to prospective employers or your work ecosystem players going forward. So at this point of time, I think I won't spend too much time on social media, but yes, the one thing that I would say is, on social media, whatever you say or do or like or share, somewhere keeps building into your brand value. So whenever you're talking on social media, either on Instagram or on Facebook or on LinkedIn, by the way, there's nothing wrong in any of you trying to get into LinkedIn even now, because you start to build your network. So you could still do that. But whatever you're saying on, whatever you're either sharing or liking on social media, somewhere starts to add to your brand value. So choose wisely what you want to say, because you can make an impact there. So that's about the personal branding. And again, open to questions on this for just 5 minutes before I summarize the last 3 topics very quickly, because I don't have much to say. I'll just share some do's, don'ts, and the books to be read, recommended books. So at this point of time on personal branding, I'm happy to take questions for 5 minutes. I'm seeing some question about
Ma'am. Yeah, ma'am, actually, let us give some chance to the participants watching your lecture on YouTube also. A question from Ritu Kumari. Ma'am, I don't want to do meditation as I don't like it. Is there any suggestion for people like me from your side?
See, everything that we do in our life is our choice, and we have to take responsibility for it. Okay? So if you don't do meditation, if you don't want to do meditation, you have to find another way of overcoming the problems that I mentioned. Why do we do meditation? Try to understand why we do meditation. We do meditation because we want to declutter our mind. We want to overcome distraction. We want to gain focus in whatever we do. And we also want to exhaust all the negative emotions in our mind, just like an exhaust fan in our house, right? So if you don't do all of those things, it will definitely have an impact on your productivity. If you can find other ways of achieving that, by all means you can do it. But I think a lot of the experts recommend meditation as a very easy and simple way to overcome those negatives. So think about
Yes.
it.
Sure. And ma'am, Venkat Sainath is asking, ma'am, how Elon Musk is going successful in different fields?
Great question. Uh, Actually, this is a very good question for an entrepreneurship session. But Elon Musk is a class by himself. He thinks far ahead. He's a visionary. What he does is he doesn't, in simple words, if I have to tell you, most entrepreneurs try to solve existing problems. Whereas Musk, what he does is he creates problems that never exist and then he tries to solve the problems. What I'm trying to say, because he can think far ahead, he will come up with solutions that people are not even aware of as a problem, and then he will introduce that. Then people tend to think, oh my God, these things can be done so easily, and we never knew that we could do it this easily. So that's the way he creates followers for himself, because he can think so much ahead. He's a visionary. He's able to create problems that people don't even think exist and find solutions for them. And then, of course, the rest is history when it comes to Elon Musk, because he has built a huge community of followers. He doesn't even spend on marketing because his own customers do the marketing for him. That's point number one. Point number two, when it comes to Elon Musk, we just talked about personal branding. He is great at personal branding. And that's where he's able to draw a lot of positive vibes in his environment. He connects with each and every person on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, as if he's a personal connect with everyone. And that's what makes him one of the most successful visionaries in the world today.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, the next question is from S. Gautam. Ma'am, if someone did something bad to us, what should we do? Should we reply them back or just stay away from them?
It depends on who the person is, what the situation is. Let me tell you, if somebody did something bad to you, and if that person has to continue as part of your life in any way, then it's best to address it. But it's very important how you address it. You're not going to address it in the same, what shall I say, negative way that he did it. You're going to find a positive way to address it. But if it's a person who you can allow to let go, then I don't think we should spend, he's not worth spending time trying to set it right. I don't know if that answers your question.
Mr. Gautam, yeah, thanks, ma'am, he says.
Yeah, fine.
So it clarifies his question.
Fine.
The next question is from Bodhana Charan. I'm not quite sure what he exactly means. Ma'am, is hard work beats IQ levels of a person? Does hard work beat IQ levels of a person? Maybe you could unmute yourself, Charan, and clarify the question.
hard work does not, hard work can increase the IQ level, but I think hard work is not, hard work by itself is not IQ quotient. Because IQ quotient has various other parameters, including memory, for example. Your grasp, your memory. There's so many experts will tell you there are so many parameters for defining your IQ level, but your hard work can help to increase the IQ quotient.
Okay, ma'am. The next question is from Shrikar. What are the parameters which companies hiring us look for apart from our technical knowledge?
I told you this in the beginning. Because of automation and a lot of the human work that was being done is now being replaced by automation. What the new trend that companies will look for is very clearly, and it's a no-brainer, human skills. And human skills, as I mentioned earlier, comprise of your social skills, your emotional skills, your conflict resolution skills, your stress management skills, a lot of these social skills. So the one who stays a step ahead in this are the winners. And two, you also have to be able to pick up diverse skills quickly. So the right attitude of being an agile learner matters.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, there are actually a lot of questions, but due to lack of time, I'm unable to ask them. But some of them are already can be, if they listen to you right from the beginning, they can be answered already. With
maybe they were watching movie of of your hero. Who is that? Ravi Teja, or who's the other one? I forgot. Your Tollywood hero.
Chiranjeevi, yeah?
No. The young guy.
Prabhas.
No. The younger person. I forgot
Ram
his name.
Charan.
No. Mohan? No, not Mohan. Okay, I don't remember.
No, ma'am. They have been.
The one from the film of paternal background. Okay, anyway.
Allu Arjun, Sai Dharam Tej, Vijay Devarkonda, Mahesh Babu.
Arjun, maybe Arjun.
Allu Arjun. Okay, ma'am. Yes. No, ma'am. I am pretty sure they have been actively watching your.
I was just kidding.
Yes. I got it, ma'am. Ma'am, with your permission, shall we conclude the session? Or
yes, we should. Otherwise, we are running out of time.
Yes, ma'am.
So, before I move to the 3 books, I will tell you again, rule of 3. I will tell you 3 things that you want to remember that you should not do. And it'll be good if you all can write it down. I'm not presenting it. Never be under an illusion of knowledge. It's very risky. What I mean to say by this, keep your mind open to learning. Don't ever think you have learned everything at any point in your life, because sky is the limit for learning. If you're a student forever, there'll be nothing stopping you from reaching any goals in life. Point number 1. Point number 2, be wary of naysayers. I already told you this in somewhere along the way. So if you're passionate about something and you really want to do it, don't let others tell you why you cannot do it. You have to figure that out for yourself. And 3, do not become a slave of social media, because it can be very consuming of your energy, of your time. So watch out, use it to your advantage rather than allow that to use you. So these are the 3 things I wanted to say. And what are the things? Another thing, I think these 3 things is something that I wanted to share more from my personal experience, and I felt it was good for you to know. 3 things that were very inspiring for me. One is there's a proverb by Robert Frost which said that two roads diverged in a wood, and I chose the road less traveled, and that made all the difference. So that statement has been very inspiring for me. So if you are having the grit to chase something that's the lesser known path, I think life will be very exciting, but of course with abundant caution. And two, I have always started with big goals, but I have never let the goals, what shall I say, consume me. I have allowed small journeys, small successes to motivate me and encourage me. So, likewise, I think all of you should have smaller milestones along your journey and celebrate small successes that will keep motivating you. And last but not the least, coming back to the topic of challenge your limits, don't limit your challenges. That's where I'll conclude. Never be under a comfort zone like under a banyan tree, nothing ever grows. If you're in a comfort zone, you will never ever grow anywhere, right? So push yourself out of the comfort zone. Uh, life is very kind. Everybody has huge potential to do something big, uh, and I think we just have to discover what is it in us that we can do big. No one is handicapped, right? So just go out and discover and pursue it. Nothing will stop you from celebrating success. So these are the closing notes I would like to give. And you would ask me for some books, right?
Books. Yes, ma'am.
One book that I would strongly recommend all of you to read is a book called The Alchemist by
Could
from
you
Brazilian
repeat
author.
it?
Sorry?
Please repeat the title of the book, ma'am.
The Alchemist.
Alchemist.
The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. He's a Brazilian author, beautifully written bestseller. Uh, it's a nice story of a shepherd boy, so well narrated on how he follows his dreams based on what an astrologer told him, and how along the journey he meets so many people and overcomes every hurdles that come along his way, and finally he realizes his dreams. So I think it's a great learning that you don't want to miss. You can read that. The other book I would recommend is a book called The Secret from Rhonda Byrne. Read that because that book tells you it's something like the law of attraction. If you radiate positive vibes, you attract positive vibes. So the book Secret tells you what you need to do to be able to achieve something. Like somebody asked, I want to be a rocket scientist. I think the book Secret can answer his question better than I did. Right? So that's the second book. And the third book that I would recommend is The Power of Now. The Power of Now is from Eckhart Tolle. Why I recommend this book also, I will tell you. All of us have a natural tendency to invite negative emotions because of multiple things. We compare ourselves with others who are probably many years ahead of us for various reasons, and we tend to think that we are not there yet, right? And then we look at people on social media and compare ourselves with. And so it's a
Dear students, hear me? I'm sorry, we lost you for a couple of seconds. Or I was lost. I'm not sure what exactly happened.
Tells
Yes.
you how you make the best of the present moment and not worry overly about what has happened in the past or what is expected in the future, because many times we keep fearing about the future, and when we reach that stage we feel so stupid that we spend so much time thinking about something that never happened, right? So the power of now tells you to stay focused on the present moment. So if these three books are my strong recommendations, they have inspired me a lot. So I hope there's some value also for the others there. On that note, I would like to close, but happy to
Okay,
take
ma'am.
any questions if you have.
Not many questions here, ma'am.
I think most of it was already done anyway.
It was very nice of you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Ma'am, let me, we are running out of the time. So, with your permission, I would like to conclude
Please
this
do.
session. Today, today, you spoke about three important aspects of human life. Those are personal development, professional development, and also briefly on personal branding. You also discussed about how discipline is important. You emphasized the importance of physical activity and health intakes and sleeping hours for the effective functioning of the brain. You advise the 15-minute meditation to all of our participants. When we cannot focus on things we want to do, it is very important that we do at least 15 minutes of meditation every day. You spoke also about the tricks to reducing the stress levels, and you also advise to develop a habit of improving writing skills by dedicating couple of minutes for writing every day. And most importantly, you said that visualization of your dream is a powerful tool to the
Yes.
realization of your dream. And also, as an example, you shared your own experiences, and during you also spoke about how you dreamt during your college days and how you made it a realization. So we can say that you yourself set as an example. Thank you very much for that, ma'am, for sharing. Yes, constructive criticism always helps. You told us listen to critics and analyze what they said and see if you can use it for your own development. You also told us be prepared to face the turbulences that you are going to face in your life, uh, and so many other things. Thank you very much for the motivational and very encouraging talk, ma'am.